Okay, good. Just some housekeeping rules to be sure that everything runs smoothly. So for the panelists, you're welcome to leave your camera on, so it's a bit more lively. All participants are muted by default. You can change your name if it's not the right one by clicking on the right top right corner. And then we'll also ask all the participants to use the chat for the questions. It's gonna be easier. There will be a Q&A session at the end. And the recording has started. I'm going to do a super short introduction about police, just to understand who we are. So we are a network of regions and cities specialized in mobility, and we are helping a lot of our members to understand a bit better what are the different policies from the European Parliament and the Commission. We're also involved in a lot of research projects. So I'm Sibylle Meffre. I'm personally in a working group on traffic efficiency. I'm going to show it to you. So here you can see a bit where are our members. It's mainly so public actors, but we also have associated members that are universities. We have different working groups, different thematic on mobility, and the one that is interesting for us today is the mobility and traffic efficiency. I'm part of this working group, and that's why I'm chairing this webinar. We are organizing the big police conference at the end of the month. It's in Karlsruhe this year. So if you can still register if you want. You just have to go on the link. All presentation will be sent at the end of the webinar. Here an agenda for our webinar. So they will have the chance to have the introduction by Thiago Tavares, directly project officer of many of these different traffic management projects. So he will give us an overview of the importance of the traffic management and the European Commission's key priorities for this sector. Then he will give us presentation of the MTMC roadmap. So the MTMC, it's the Multimodal Traffic Management Cluster. There was a roadmap that was published at the beginning of October with the key priorities until 2030, and he will explain us more about it. Then we'll showcase the different EU projects. So first, some projects that came to an end this year, so Frontier and Tangent. And then there will be the second generation projects, so meaning the projects that are currently going on until, for most of them, 2026. So it's SYNCHROMODE, ACUMEN, and DELPHI. I will now already give the floor to Thiago Tavares to present us the different challenges in traffic management. Thanks a lot for your participation.
Thank you very much also for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here this morning to open this webinar. And what I will try to briefly touch upon today is about the challenge in traffic management, also some perspectives on research and innovation, and also in some policies related to that from the Commission side. My name is Thiago Tavares. I'm a program coordination manager at CINEA. And as Sibeli just mentioned, I am indeed coordinating quite a few of these projects as a project officer. So if we move to the next slide, we will start by looking at the elephant in the room. I think some of you might have already seen this presentation, and in fact, and also this parable, which is a quite famous one, where you have different people with blinded eyes, and they all look at parts of the elephant. And so those that go on the belly, they think it's a wall. Those that look at the back, this is a rope, and so on. And in fact, it only starts working to understand what they're actually seeing when they actually stop arguing on who is right and start collaborating. And if you go to the next slide, you see which we face a similar situation now when we are talking about traffic. You do have several different operators, and each of them have their own KPIs, they have their own strategy, they have their own objectives. And in the end, you all talk about the same thing, which is the elephant, or in our case, moving people and goods. And the only way to move forward is really when you stop discussing on who has priority or who is right, who is wrong, but actually start collaborating and dealing with the issue together. So if you go to the next slide, I wanted to give some examples on when you have the problems. So of course, one case is when you have the demand which is too high for what you have planned. Here it can be for concerts, other large events like football matches and so on. It can also be, when you go to the next slide, it can be also when the capacity is too low. We have recent cases, of course, on the restrictions from COVID, for example, but we also have maintenance works. We actually reduce the capacity of our network. And of course, there is always the next, as you see in the next slide, you have the part where everything is disrupted, but without really an advance notice. So of course we had the clear cases now in Spain, which of course there was a huge disaster there. You also have other cases which are maybe more subtle, but also disrupts the network. And in fact, in all of these cases, what happens is that your capacity, or which was normally planned for your demand, it's no longer fits if you look at yourself alone. And as it's we have now, normally all of these operators, they work in silos. So if you go to the next slide, we go to the results of all of that. Is either you have congestions, you have higher delays, you have costs, you have emissions, so many aspects related to this. And of course, that's why if you go to the next slide, you see that the commission is already looking into that. And in the next slide, you see one of the most recent amendments of the ITS directive, which is very important because it does look into the mobility of ITS services, travel, transport, and traffic management services, also road safety aspects, and also how we can actually be prepared for cooperative, connected, and automated mobility. And in the next slide, you see a bit more of this summary of what has changed. So first, if you look at availability of data, which is basically how the data is digitalized, right? And the ITS directives make an obligation that all the data will be at some point to be digitalized. Of course, makes a difference on how the information is provided to the drivers. Then on the other aspect, you have the accessibility of data. So the data is digitized, so it's already in a computer somewhere, but how you make sure that these can be accessible. Doesn't mean it should be accessible for free. It means to be available for purchase or for use. And here you have the delegated acts that look into this aspect of it. And finally, the mandatory deployment of ITS services, which is of course the main objective. Data without the service, it's really not useful. So, and this is what the ITS directive in relation to the Annex 4 is looking at. So if you go to the next slide, you see how actually the progression of these. So of course, it's not going to be everything at the same time. So when you see the TNT and primary data plus urban nodes, you have updates 2025 which are foreseen. So every time anything is updated next year, it should be already made digitized. And of course, from 2027, all data should be there. And then, of course, for the remaining network, which is also a very large part of it, there is, of course, the updates by 2028. But then there will be a review comes in 2028 to see what's going to be for the other data, which is not updates. So now moving to the next part, of course, which is an important aspect, as some of the projects have already noticed that as well, in terms of the changes in terms of the European mobility data space. And this is, of course, is a game changer because the objective is to facilitate the access, to make sure that they can pool and share the data, not only for existing, but also for future transports. And here there's the communication you should look at with more details about that, and also here an envisioned concept on how it can be looked at. This is very important because of course each of your projects, they use data. Each of the traffic management aspects need data these days. So of course, planning and structuring all the solutions using the EMDS, of course, it's really necessary and really encouraged by us. Now moving to the other aspect of traffic management. You can move to the next slide. It's about what's the impact of research innovation, right? So here in CINEA, we have the privilege to be from involved in several aspects and several technology readiness levels. So from the creation of the solutions, such as Horizon Europe, from the concepts and developing, demonstrating that in the cities, to the deployment, where you have CEF, Innovation Fund, and LIFE, depending on the solutions. And we really encourage, of course, the projects to already develop their solutions, thinking on these prospects, on how they can actually bring the solutions to the market. And if you go to the next slide, we have a summary of the projects, the recent projects that are ongoing on these traffic management aspects. And as you're going to be seeing today, there will be the presentation from two projects from the first part, so Frontier and Tangent. Then there's also in the next call there was about CCAM, so how to integrate traffic management CCAM, and finally there were the three projects presented today as well in relation to the advanced multimodal network. What I wanted to mention, which I think was a very important aspect, because if you look at the four first projects, it started looking as network and traffic management. However, of course, as they progressed and as of course they progressed their project, it was even a decision to create this what we call the multimodal traffic management, because it became evident as well that you can only solve these issues when you do work together. And I think some of the main contributions from these projects is really how to make the links between the silos that were there. And again, thinking of looking at the elephant as a whole. Now, this is 45 million euros. There are, of course, that there's also some two calls which are closing now, which will increase the number of projects. But this is a huge responsibility for these projects, because you do represent all the suppliers of services, but also the cities that are trying to make the change. And now if you move to the next slide, I wanted to mention one of the very important achievements of these projects, because first of all, they decided to work together as a cluster. And this is great because on the one hand, they do bring all the knowledge together and they can discuss the different points. And also it helps them the visibility of their projects. Of course, when your voice is only one person, is much say smaller than when you actually represented for so many people. And we really noticed that actually the profile of this project has increased dramatically once they start collaborating. And one of the main outcomes for the first phase was indeed this multimodal traffic management roadmap, which actually look at three different aspects. First, the technologies and services, looking what will be the current situation now, the state of the art, and what will be the expected developments of these technologies in the next 10 or 20 years. Then looking at, okay, what about the data? What are the needs of these data in relation to these services? And finally, how the policies can facilitate the entire process. We already mentioned that the Commission is already trying to achieve some of these aspects, but of course, always the feedback from the research projects are very important for us to understand what else can we do. And as you see on the top, you have also the QR code in case you want to download this roadmap, and I really recommend you have a read of it because it's a very interesting one. Now, if you go to the next slide, here's just a little bit of a short summary on what you expect there. So on the one hand, you have the challenges, the vision, and the pathway. And here we are looking again for 2030, which is already next door, and also going beyond, so 2040, 2050. And this is establishing different priority areas. I want to go through all of them, but I wanted to mention, for example, the integration of modes, this multimodal aspect, and also the resilience and adaptability, which is a very important aspect, which can really differentiate and make a huge impact on our society today. And then we also have this structure in terms of pathways. And what I really like on the way that it was approached is also is in terms of research questions, because we also clearly place there the importance of this, and the projects really looked based on their activities what else is needed. And we really hope that these will also shape the future calls and also the future projects. If you go now to the next slide. And here it's about the services and technologies. This is it's an important aspect, which an important assessment that was made to try to understand what is already there. So what can be implemented in cities, and we do hope that all these elements will help actually the cities to understand how they can improve immediately their system. And second, looking into the further research which is needed to actually implement the new services that may be even more game changers in our network and in the cities and also in the regions that we are talking about in Europe. So we do recommend that you look at this roadmap. I think it has quite a lot of good insights and can be very useful for cities that want to implement, for service providers that they want to develop further the solutions, and also for researchers that want to understand what's the state of the art and also what's coming next. Now moving to the closing slides. I just wanted to thank everybody here for all the hard work. I think these projects, they really shown that the collaboration makes a difference. I know it comes as a additional layer on the activities which they have committed to do. But on the other hand, I mean, the commission really appreciates all this effort, because it does make a difference for us when we do see the feedback to policy coming in a way that is structured, that is validated, because there are different projects and different stakeholders involved in it. And we are really looking forward also for seeing how these things are implemented in our cities. And I'm looking forward to the continuation of this webinar with the presentation of the projects. And of course, open for questions in case there will be some. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Thiago. For all the questions, please ask them in the chat directly, and we take them at the end of the presentation to be sure that we have enough time for all projects. But indeed, I just wanted to underline also that in terms of communication and dissemination, there are a lot of efforts to gather all the projects and to have really a stronger voice during events. There was some participation at the ITS World Congress in Dubai, at the Civitas, and it's going to go on again, because we see that's really we can reach really a broader audience, and it's great. So now I will invite the Frontier speaker to take the mic to present the results of the project directly. So please unmute yourself, and floor is yours.
Yes, hello. It's fine, my audio?
We can hear you well, yeah.
Thank you, thank you. So good morning, everyone. Also from my side, I am Milena from the University of Antwerp, and I will present part of the outcomes from Frontier project. I will start with the project, and then the pilot sites, outputs and lessons learned from each one of the pilot sites, and then I'll finalize with the policy recommendations from the project. Frontier project mainly focused on the next generation network traffic management for future mobility. The project ran from 2021 to 2024. In a very summarized way, Frontier studied the requirements of the transport network in the future, considering online simulations, real-time evaluations for different scenarios and response plans. Yes, so Frontier had 3 different pilot sites. The first one in Athens, focusing on multimodal passengers transport and the cooperation among the transport providers and the stakeholders. The second one in Antwerp, focusing on the network performance and response plans for freight transport using multimodality, synchromodality technologies. And the third one in Oxford, focusing on the impact of autonomous vehicles in the infrastructure and also in the network. And the main goal of all of these 3 pilots together was to understand the factors that could impact the deployment of a new traffic management system, such as factors such as technological, legal, etc. and I will explain a bit more about the outcomes of these 3 pilots. So first, the pilot in Athens basically was the current situation is that different entities is managing the passengers transport network, which gives fragmented information to the passengers and also impacts in the reliability and of the public transport to the city. So Frontier, in this case, developed a platform bringing together the different stakeholders from public transport operators and also the network management. And the platform of coordination among transport stakeholders was developed and tested in Frontier. As well, the mobile app for passengers with suggestions of response plans, routes, according to the current network information. So after this, a survey was applied and 55% of the passengers in the case of Athens opted for change from private cars to public transport. Then in the next slide, we can see the pictures about Athens. First one, all the stakeholders working together in the platform, in the dashboard to understand what's the best response plan for each situation. The second, the mobile app, the dashboard of the mobile app. The third, the stakeholders collaborating in the pilot itself. And the fourth one, the example of a suggestion of a route based on the network traffic conditions in the moment for the passengers that were using the app. Then in the next slide, we start with the Antwerp pilot that the main purpose of Frontier was to understand the impact of the freight mode shift from roadway to inland waterway, focusing on 2 specific ways, the waterway Albert Canal and the one highway, the E313. Both has almost the same design, but still a huge connecting the city with the East Country. However, it's still a huge amount of cargo being transported via roadway, resulting in several bottlenecks and other issues to the city. So the synchromodality concept to this pilot brings together the idea that even when the freight is already being transported via roadway, if some things happen in the roadway and the traffic conditions is not good anymore, so this freight could move to the waterway using a terminal, everything in real-time information, and then go to the port. So the most important step in Frontier in Antwerp was, and it is bringing together all the stakeholders in the same platform of communication, containing all the different alternatives for freight and also the related prices and time. So the conceptual dashboard was developed, and then in this dashboard, a transport organizer could use the platform to add all the information and requirements of the cargo shipment. Then the simulation runs, considering all the alternatives, all the available options for the case, and our response plan list is generated based on the network conditions, cost, and time calculations also. So as soon as the transport organizer accepts the response plan, all the stakeholders involved should also be informed and need to accept the response plan as well. So for example, in the case of a mode shift from roadway to waterway, the terminal operator, the barge operator, also the waterway management should accept and be aware of this. And the main output from Frontier was that all the results and also the conceptual dashboard was validated with experts in the transportation in the Flanders region. And the main thing is that all the actors should be involved and should communicate in a single channel. Then in the case of Oxford, the pilot was split in 2. The first one was created a similar dashboard with the Athens one for users of private cars, providing response plans based on the network conditions. And also in this case, a survey was applied for all these participants in the pilot. And in this case, 65% are willing to share, to go for a more sustainable transport mode other than private cars. And then the second pilot in Oxford was basically the integration of autonomous vehicles in these response plans created. So response plans with autonomous vehicles was tested in the test area. Yes, so next, and in conclusion, considering all these pilots and their challenges and lessons learned, the frontier policy recommendation was made, and it was split in 4 main topics. The first one, the development of data platforms and standards, focusing on defining structure to data regulations, also to facilitate the data sharing among all the stakeholders in each case. The second one, it's based on network management systems, talking about mainly business and arbitration models to bring together all the stakeholders and to decide who is going to take the decisions, what is the best decisions. Then the transparency and reliability of predictive models also. The third one, it is the research and development. And the fourth one, the support of the transition and technology implementation. Yes, thank you very much. This is in a very summarized way what Frontier brings in these 4 years of project. And thank you very much for your attention. Any question?
Thanks a lot, Milena. That was a really good overview of the different pilots and policy recommendation. Indeed, we know that we have some cities of police who subscribe to the webinar, and it's super great for them to have like some tangible results that happen in the pilots. So thanks a lot for this. Please write all your questions in the chat about the Frontier project, and we'll tackle them in the end. So now we'll invite Thiago Dias from A2B for the tangent presentation, and I'll let you share your screen. Please make sure that it's all okay, otherwise we'll manage in the settings.
Hi, good morning. And I was about to try and share my screen, but I think you do have to give me some kind of permissions, Sibel.
Okay, we're checking it right now, just 1 minute, just to see.
Otherwise, I have a slide set that I can share with you, and
just send it to me by email, just in case, just to be sure. But because you have the same settings as the other hosts, so it should be normally okay on our end. Now, can you try again, please?
yes, now I can share my screen.
Great.
Perfect. And I think it's just a button away, and you probably are seeing my screen now. Just to confirm. Sibel, are you seeing my screen? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, so I think I can start. Well, good morning again. I'm Thiago Dias from A2B, and I'm just giving a few words about the Tangent project. Well, the Tangent project has been, or is almost ending, but it still is an endeavor from 13 partners within 9 countries within the EU. We have 4 case study cities: Lisbon, Greater Manchester, Rennes, and Athens. And pretty much we are focusing on several steps of enhancing and optimizing multimodal traffic. But I think I can move to the next slide, because I want to show you basically the 3 main pillars where we are building our solution and how we are helping this kind of within different use cases, how we are helping the optimization of multimodal traffic. So, well, we do start with Jeffrey L, which is the partner that has been collecting and harmonizing data, and everything here starts with data. It's essential and it's central to our solution. So we have on place a data API that collects data from within these 4 different cities. The data is not at all similar from within their sources, but through harmonization, it becomes harmonized, and we have a single entity, a single model that follows standards where the data and how the data is available within within our own project. Well, for this, we have the Tangent API to distribute data within the project, and that's powered by us, A2B. We've also developed the dashboard for the solution, and I think this is where you'll be seeing the functionalities appearing, and I'll now start to describe them. I think this is what the end users, the stakeholders within the cities get to use, and these are the most relevant aspects, although the data behind them is crucial. Without it, we wouldn't have this. So the first aspect here that we call that is part of service 1 in our solution is monitoring, is being able to see data from within all these different sources after the harmonization process. It's seen live within a dashboard in the form of indicators and maps, and everything gets updated as things go along. I'll give you a lot more details about the monitoring. We also do have some data calculations, data processing, and forecasting capabilities. As you'll see, the forecast data is integrated within the monitoring functionality to show not just the current status, but the probable future status for indicators, even for map data, as you'll see in our demonstration. This is what we're showing here on top. And then adding to these 2 pillars here, monitoring and forecasting, we have what we call planning, and planning works on top of even more, for me, from my perspective, a more complicated solution that uses simulation software. And here we have work from different partners, from ACUMEN, from NTUA, and those 2 that using this simulation software, we are able to prepare a set of plans, response plans that we can use to act and to solve specific types of incidents within these 4 cities. I'll also show you a little bit more about this, but I think this is important to set the ground and to understand how we deal with different kinds of situations. Of course, we have the plans, and then what are they used for? Well, the plans are triggered automatically once specific situations are detected, like an accumulation of road traffic in a specific area of the city, or if the public transport is having a greater delay in another part of the city, different plans will be triggered by these different conditions, and operators are able to cooperatively analyze the situation and apply the response plan, even customizing some of the response plan actions. Well, I want to show you this in a bit more detail. So to show you monitoring and forecasting, in this case, we are seeing a dashboard from Lisbon. So we have the entire city available. We have traffic data on the roads. We have traffic cameras available with live video. We have bus information here and tram information. So we combined this information to have a multimodal visualization. And sometimes this is not too complex, of course, but it comes with great benefit being able to see this in the same dashboard, and many of these cities were unable to do it beforehand without this. I also call your attention to the indicators here in this area. These are citywide indicators. We can have also filtered indicators, and I'll show you what we are doing with those to have dashboards focused on very specific parts of the city. But with these indicators, for example, although the traffic information in Lisbon is not as rich as it is in Rennes or Manchester, we were able to have an interesting indicator that's like the traffic light for the entire city that gives us a color-coded visualization here of the total congestion of the city. So we know when it goes above 100 kilometers, the city is rather congested, and it starts to get red, so yellow and red from there on. But if it's at 50 kilometers total congestion for the entire city, it's quite manageable, and you can travel almost freely within the city. So this is another example from Manchester. As I told you, we have more detailed traffic information here in Manchester, but we try to pull up and have everything integrated in pretty much the same way, and the color coding for the average speeds is the same. So it becomes intuitive to see these different cities with the same interface, and we had a lot of focus on evaluation and getting feedback from the users if this functionality was really intuitive or not. Well, also REN, and I don't know if you noticed, but we have here this forecast, and this is a forecast indicator for the road travel speed in the city of Rennes. Here is the live one, and below we have 1 hour forecast, and we know that the average speed will go down, so there will be much more traffic in 1 hour as forecasted. But we also have here a map visualization of how this traffic will be happening, and it will be accumulating in a specific area here of the city, in a specific intersection. I think we also have buzz information, for example, and we use this color coding that we are using with road traffic and the indicators. We also use it with the buzz locations here. And for example, this yellow one is more delayed than a blue or a green one. Okay, so it becomes more intuitive to really take a look at a quick look at the dashboard. Well, one other thing that we introduced, and this was specially for Rennes, we allowed a visualization that's called heat map. We are able to see a heat map of the city, and it is even a more intuitive visualization for the traffic situation. As you can see here, this is interesting because we have a lot of detail in the city of Rennes in terms of traffic information, and with the heat map it becomes really much easier and to pinpoint situations. Of course, if you want to go into detail, the line map is what we are using, and once you zoom into this heat map, you'll also see the lines. Well, we have in the platform, we try to allow everything to be customizable, and we have a lot of features. We are able to change, for example, have different background layers. So it's possible to see this kind of view once you zoom in and you want to see the buildings and the geometry of the roads, etc. It's also possible, as I had told you, to create custom dashboards focused on a very specific part of the city. In this case, it's a corridor in the city of Lisbon, and we are looking at indicators that are filtered just for this part of the city. But we do have here a visualization of the entire city, just to keep an eye on it, for example. And this is the kind of thing that's possible to do, and that's very easy to do with the tool that we created in the customization. So everything that you've seen here, we can make it ourselves. We can create new dashboards. We can customize the backgrounds, the data that's shown in the dashboard. For example, we can move the layers. Of course, some layers should be on top of the others because it won't work and things won't be visible otherwise. So but the user, in the end, this is one of the cares that the user has to have, the ordering of the layers, but it's not very difficult to create these kind of interfaces. And in this case, we are showing how we can even filter them by geographic areas in the city. And we do the same with the indicators. It's pretty much the same as with maps, and we can combine them and create new ones and bring them to build new dashboards and customize dashboards for specific plans, even for specific incidents that we are planning to manage, and events, for example. Well, that gets us into our into this part of the presentation, where I want to show you a little bit about the planner capabilities in Tangent. We start with a very simple type of plan, which is the dissemination plan. In this kind of plan, we start by creating and defining the conditions where this plan will be triggered. So what's the problems that we will be trying to solve with this plan? And here we are focusing on a specific area of the region, and we are worried about travel time, road travel times overall, not focusing on public transport in this case. And in this simple dissemination plan, we just prepare a message that will be disseminated. It can be sent via SMS or via mobile apps to the users, but it's also shown on the dashboard so operators know that this situation is happening and they have more data about it. One last aspect when creating a dissemination plan is that we, and this is common to all to most of the other plans, we define a dashboard, and we can have a very specific dashboard like this one that was selected for this plan to tackle this part of the city, or the part of the city where the conditions, the triggering conditions are looking into, right? Well, but we do have more plans, and these are the 3 plans built on top of the more complex simulation technology that we have in Tangent. Basically, with the cooperative response plan, which is the more complex one, we are able to have different stakeholders, different entities working together, cooperating to prepare a plan that will use simulation technology to prepare a set of response actions. And I think it's better to show you in detail what it's all about to create a cooperative response plan with the Tangent tool. So we start pretty much the same way, defining the conditions. But we do have a chat here, a chat window where different stakeholders can cooperate and can discuss the triggering values and these kind of aspects. Then this step is different from the dissemination plan. We define a transport model. We will be, this transport model is identified with this is just a JSON editor for a simple parameter file. In this parameter file, we identify the transport model, basically the city, it identifies the city and the set of data within the transport model that will be used, and also some parameters. For example, we can even define KPIs, so we can give priorities to specific aspects, like lowering emissions is more important than lowering the travel speed, or the operational cost is very important for this simulation. So we can give priorities to different aspects. Well, with these inputs, the optimization runs using the simulation engine. This is a lengthy process. That's why we build a library, and we are not applying this in real time. And then we get a solution here. So we have a proposed solution from the optimization engine using simulation technology. And this solution, for example, in this case, is proposing us changes to the traffic light phase durations, for example, and also changes to the public transport scheduling. Okay, this is also important here. We are able to compare, so we have KPIs, so we are able to evaluate the situation in the baseline. It's what was before, or the typical situation that we are looking at. And then we have the optimized situation, which is what's expected to have after the response actions are applied. We also have a map visualization here where we can see and compare the situation before and after the optimization, what's expected to have after the optimization. But of course, this is only valuable if we go and apply it and have a real incident management with this. Okay, so this was creating the plan. Now I want to show you.
So just to remind you that we have only 8 minutes per project, so please try to be just short. Thanks a lot for the detailed explanation.
Almost finishing, Sibel, I think. Almost finishing. But
and Janice, no, we are not running out of schedule. It's still fine. We just want to have some time for the question. So
well, just to show you here how the plans are applied in a real situation. And I can go, but this is just an example from Rennes where we can see clearly that there's a situation going on. But actually, I don't have any footage of the solution of this situation, just to show you how it's very clear of a situation, a specific part of the city, just from monitoring. But also I do have footage here from the solution to that using that plan that I had shown you, where there's a match here in Old Trafford. So there's a lot of accumulation of traffic coming to the stadium, and we are able to see so the live situation. Then we will apply, and we can even change and do some adaptations to the buzz lines and the traffic signals. And after we apply these actions, we will be monitoring. So the system will tell the operators when the situation is solved, but they will see the situation being solved and see the changes in these indicators in live here in the dashboard. Well, this is what I wanted to show you, and just to give you some conclusions from our experience in the project. The first point, I think it's very important from the data perspective. Jeffrey also had a lot of these aspects. We had it in the data API and in the dashboard. Is that we didn't build a custom solution for each a specific data type or each specific aspect of the project. We created a generic presentation and data exchange engine, and then we allowed customization to be done with it. And this is more powerful than having a very customized solution that cannot grow to add more types of modes, etc. So I think having this kind of approach was very interesting and allowed us to achieve good results with the project. Well, everything that I showed you is running live in Manchester, Rennes, and Lisbon. Athens, it's a virtual case study, so we don't have it running live, but we also did some testing with it. And I think these kind of solutions are very important for the future of traffic management within cities, especially, but the tools are not everything, and we need to have more cooperation between institutions. And basically, this is my message today. And thank you, Sibel.
Thanks a lot, Thiago. Thanks for the detailed deep dive into the platform. It's super concrete tools, and we'll invite all the cities that are interested to contact you also to see how it can be replicable into their own organization, or how they can be inspired from it. Now, if you still have some question, please don't raise your hands because it's difficult for us to give you the mic. So please ask them directly in the chat. And I will give the floor to the second type of projects, so the projects that are going on now. And I will share my screen to introduce the that will be the SYNCHROMODE presentation. So you should be able to see my screen again. Great. And Evangelos, I give you the floor.
Thank you very much, Sibile. Thanks to all participants for being here today. My name is Evangelos Mitsakis. I'm Research Director at the Hellenic Institute of Transport, and I'm coordinating the SYNCHROMODE project. Next, please. Very, very briefly, in order also to remain within the agreed timing, Sibile, very briefly, an outline of the project facts. SYNCHROMODE started in May 2023, so a few days ago we reached the midpoint of our activities, and we have another 18 months to go. We have a partnership comprised by 17 partners from 6 countries: Netherlands, UK, Germany, Belgium, Spain, and Greece. Next, please. Yes. Before providing you with an overview of what SYNCHROMODE is about, I thought it might be interesting to present you some components of multimodal traffic management and some important aspects around multimodal traffic management, upon which we have based our project. So what is multimodal traffic management about practically? First of all, it is about synchronized operations between various types of modes. It is also about the use of real-time data coming from multiple sources. It is also about the promoted use of sustainable transport modes to the extent possible, of course. Multimodal traffic management is also about increase of road safety and accessibility for all types of users and to all transport modes. It encompasses also the use of smart and digital infrastructures, technologies, and systems. And finally, a key aspect is the cooperation of all involved stakeholders, formally, informally, at a business level or also at a technological level. Next, please. Coming to the SYNCHROMODE project of objectives, the overall objective is to enhance multimodal network and traffic management. And to achieve that, the project will develop novel methods, algorithms, and tools, as well as stakeholder collaboration mechanisms. Our objectives are structured under 4 pillars. The first one is about data gathering, data harmonization, data fusion, and data analytics. The second pillar is around modeling, simulation, and prediction. The third pillar is around optimization, and the fourth one is about the collaboration of stakeholders. Next, please. The project approach of SYNCHROMODE, so practically the methodology, how we implement the project. It is structured in 6 axes, work packages practically. We start with activities related to co-creation involving a variety of stakeholders. We try to be as inclusive as possible. The second group of activities is related to data. So we collect, fuse, and analyze data, mostly real time, for all types of modes. The third group of activities is related to modeling, simulation, and prediction, again for all transport modes. The fourth one is about optimization. The fifth one is sort of a synthesis of all the previous activities, the outputs of which we aim to integrate in the so-called SYNCHROMODE toolbox. And the sixth axis are the case studies, so practically the testing of the SYNCHROMODE toolbox in 3 real-world case studies, and the assessment of the impacts thereof. Next, please. We have, as you saw before, several objectives, so you can easily imagine that we aim to achieve significant contributions in several areas, but here we try to provide you with some highlights or some so-called main contributions. So one main contribution is related to the assessment and the enhancement of quality of the used data. This is extremely important because all traffic management related operations and services rely on data, and the quality thereof obviously affects everything. A second important aspect that we're working on is related to analytics of vehicle trajectories, because we're able to utilize new source of data, so data coming directly from the vehicles. A third one is related to roadworks, which have a significant impact on traffic and the optimization thereof. A fourth one is related to load balancing and social routing optimization. This also has a forward-looking direction, as we will also cover connected and automated vehicles. A fifth one is the AI-assisted multimodal traffic management, so the use of AI-assisted technologies in order to activate, monitor the performance, and deactivate in real-time traffic management scenarios. A sixth one is the identification in real time of bottlenecks, as well as the prediction of future traffic states and disruptions. The seventh one is the synchronization between public transport, demand-responsive transport services, and logistics services. And the eighth one is the estimation of demand-responsive transport demand and public transport performance assessment. Next, please. We will be testing all our developments in 3 case studies. The first one is in Thessaloniki, where we will focus on the management of planned and unplanned events with a significant impact on traffic for all transport modes. Second, on extreme traffic congestion and recurring traffic congestion. And also we will put focus on the exploitation of multi-source data and the use of new technologies for multimodal traffic management purposes. The second case study is in the Netherlands, where we will focus on management of traffic during large-scale events. And one component will be related to the impact assessment and the optimization of roadworks planning. And the second one will be on the management of traffic at large events like the exhibition in Keukenhof, as well as seasonal events like traffic towards beaches in the Netherlands. And the third case study, this is in Madrid. It is about the promotion of collaborations between different stakeholders, involving mostly public transport, but also logistics operators. And therein we will exploit the synergies and the coordination between public transport service providers and urban delivery companies in order to increase the efficiency of the operations of both. Next, please. Very briefly, a few words about the SYNCHROMODE toolbox. As I told you at the beginning, we are in the middle of the duration of our project, so we have just finalized the technical architecture activities, and we have recently started working on the actual development of the tools and the integration of the various models, algorithms, and optimization tools that are being developed. The SYNCHROMODE toolbox in general will be comprised of 3 main components. A major component is one related to data processing. The second major component will be related to resilient multimodal traffic management with various functional capabilities, as you can see in this slide. And the third component, on which we also place particular emphasis, is about visualization. So practically the use of new KPIs as well as visually appealing and user-friendly ways and new technological ways to look into all aspects of traffic management for all modes in real time. I think this is my last slide. Thank you very much. I hope I was in time.
You're perfectly in time, Evangela. Thanks a lot for this. Great, thanks for the introduction. I see in the audience that we have different people coming from the different region where there are the pilots, especially the Netherlands. So don't hesitate to ask questions to see if you are doing also like similar, developing similar tools in your region to be sure that we can have the best synergies possible. Now I will leave the floor to ACUMEN and Claudio Roncoli to present us this project that is focused on the use of AI for monitoring traffic management.
Okay, thank you very much, Sibyl. Yes, so thank you very much for giving me the floor. I will try to be brief in presenting a few things about ACUMEN. So this is a project that connects very well with what was said just previously by Evangelos about the other project in this cluster. So the idea of ACUMEN is to work on basically advancing AI as a decision tool in order to try to promote this seamless multimodal network and traffic management. Yes. So the consortium of ACUMEN, well, is led by Aalto University, which I represent here, and we are 16 partners. Basically, the discrepancy numbers because we have some associated partner from Switzerland across Europe, and we are representative of different organizations. So from we have 6 university partners, well, a couple of cities, and then companies and research centers that are working on this consortium. So what's basically the overall idea of ACUMEN? Basically, it goes around 3 main pillars here to achieve the goals. So the first pillar is about working with data, and as it was already mentioned already from the presentation by Tiago, data is key here, but major issues here is that data is not centralized. It doesn't make sense to be centralized. Data is owned by different entities, and these entities, of course, and this data also carries always security and privacy issues. So one of the goals of ACUMEN is to work on this data framework, basically in order to facilitate this real-time information sharing. So we are developing methods and designing and developing methods so that we can exchange this data securely, so that as desired level of privacy is still maintained by the different partners and stakeholders. Then the second pillar is about monitoring and forecasting. So the idea here is that, of course, before we can take any proper management action, we need to know what is the status of our system, our multimodal transport system. Now the problem is that information is very scattered in our current systems, and despite we have a lot of data sources, even putting them together, they are basically incomplete. So we are trying to use this kind of tools, AI tools, in order to try to make a bigger and more comprehensive and holistic picture of the traffic in order to make management decisions. And then the third pillar is, of course, making decision making, and in there, of course, AI has a major role, and we also work with hybrid intelligence so that we can leverage the interaction of AI also with users and stakeholders. Can we go to the next, please? So we have 4 pilots. Now, I will not go into much details in here, as we still don't have major results. So we are just a little over 1 year into the project. But so basically the idea is that we're going to have in Athens 1 pilot more about this decision-making and hybrid intelligence. In Helsinki, we are going to have a pilot about managing multimodal traffic through, in particular, soft measures and the combination of different data fusion techniques. In Luxembourg, we're going to have basically work about multimodal mobility service optimization, including also automated vehicles. And in Amsterdam, that's going to be a virtual pilot where the idea is to test the most advanced ideas about really network management and coordinating multimodal management, strongly leveraged by AI. Can we go to the next? So what is also central here, something I didn't mention earlier, is that one of the main technologies we are trying to leveraging in ACUMEN is this digital twin, the digital twin technology, and that's where I'm going to focus most of my rest of my presentation. So the idea here is basically that, of course, we want to create. No, you can stay in the previous one. Yes, if we want to create this kind of comprehensive picture, so that we can actually have take wise management actions. We need, of course, to have a place where the data is shared, or at least where different tools that we actually implement know where to collect, where to find this data and what kind of data they can find. And so this is basically done in what we are calling the ACUMEN digital twin. And basically, this digital twin is a combination of different parts, and the one part is the data part. So it basically works as a sort of a dictionary that contains all the data that the different that are needed for running the different management services. And besides data, it also has incorporated the different components that we are developing within ACUMEN. So the idea basically we have is like, imagine the motherboard of a computer, and that's our digital twin, where we can actually plug in different components, like for demand forecasting, for specific management tools, and or specific privacy preserving methods. And now these the overall idea then is to have this completely modular platform, this digital twin, so that it can actually be implemented, instantiated in different ways for the different pilots. So the different pilots may have different implementation of the same digital twin structure, depending on the needs of the stakeholders, and then depending on the use cases we are actually having. So again, we are 1 year into the project. So so far we have basically well, we are developing independently the different components, and we have already developed the core of the digital twin in terms of data. If you can now go to the next slide, please. Yes, so thank you. So the idea here is basically we have now this data platform where the different stakeholders can basically link their mobility data in some way. Data can be directly uploaded in digital twin, or there could be basically a virtual link that points to where the different tools can actually find the data that is needed. And this is using the most advanced techniques for privacy preservation and security. And now what we are now doing basically is to, now that the structure is ready, we're creating the instantiation of the digital twins for the different pilots. Can you go to the next one? Yes, and so on this digital twin, I would go quickly here, as I think my time is almost out, is basically then start adding to the different different implementations, basically the different components that we are developing, either being like tools for example, for data fusion. So here you can see a schematic view on how these tools, for example, work, and they can link to different, without going into detail, they can link to different data sets, and depending on whether they're sensitive or not, go through specific software components, and then perform, for example, a fusion and create new data that can either be uploaded to the digital twin or uploaded to external sources, but still available within digital twin. Can you go to the next one, please? Yeah, so this is, for example, an implementation of the privacy component we are working on, is based on federated learning. And the idea here is that basically the different data owners are not going to share their own data, but they are basically using some advanced AI techniques so that they can share only certain information of the data without sharing the data. And this kind of information can be defined based on what is needed then downstream for some management purposes or something like that. Can you go to the next? Yeah. And here's an example of demand forecasting, what we're building currently. So here the idea is also to put together different components, so from demand estimation to mobility models and multimodal network models, and collect all the different data sources. This is, for example, what we are working on in Luxembourg, our colleagues from University of Luxembourg, and then build these demand forecasting for the different modes. And can you go next? Okay, so this was basically it about my presentation. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Yes,
Thank you.
thanks a lot, Radio. Please ask the question. In the chat, we see that there are a lot of different common challenges between the projects around the quality of data. That is like really crucial to make the best predictions. So it could be an interesting debate to begin in the time remaining. Now we'll just invite the last project, which is DELPHI, to present. And here it's going to be focused on the governance framework, which is one of their main achievements for the moment. And we all know that governance is also one of the biggest challenges in traffic management. So please, floor is yours.
Thank you, Sibyl. I am Sofia Kokonesi, and I'll present DELPHI project on behalf of ICCS. Before diving into the creation of efficient governance frameworks for traffic management and the concept of DELPHI Town, we will first look into some key facts. DELPHI's full title is Federated Network of Platforms for Passenger and Freight Intermodality. It is an Horizon Europe Research and Innovation Action project on the topic that focuses on combined passenger and freight transport. The project's duration is 3 years, and its budget is approximately 5 million euros. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thanks. DELPHI's consortium consists of 16 partners, plus one associated partner and one affiliated entity from 8 different EU and associated countries, with a shared vision to address the growing challenges of passengers and freight mobility. DELPHI's vision is the strategic, can you move to the next one? Thanks. Is the strategic integration of passenger and freight transport in a single system, working towards integrating sectors, harmonizing data, and leveraging advanced methodologies to transform transportation systems towards a sustainable future. DELPHI evolves around 3 pillars. The first one is governance and ecosystem specification. The second pillar relates to architecture, data, and processing and optimization. And the third one is DELPHI's validation activities through realistic pilot demonstrations. Can we move to the next slide? DELPHI's federated ecosystem will be evaluated in real-life settings through 4 pilot demonstrations. These are located in Spain, Madrid, Greece in Attica and Mykonos, and in Romania in Cluj-Napoca. In summary, the Madrid use case focuses on combined passenger and freight traffic, leveraging the Madrid metro system. The Attica use case examines multimodal freight and passenger mobility, taking advantage of highway traffic and relative public transport freight capacity. Mykonos use case focuses on utilizing public transport for freight mobility between interest points, such as the airport, the port, and the city center during peak touristic periods. And the Cluj-Napoca use case focuses on data exchange and the interaction with mobility data spaces based on the standards of the IDSA, the International Data Spaces Association. The first action towards the development of DELPHI's governance framework was the data collection and analysis. To this purpose, we used 2 main sources. The first one was working sessions per DELPHI pilot that led to the co-creation of the ASIS and to-be setups associated with its pilot. These were also depicted in system diagrams. And we also used the second source that was the DELPHI questionnaire that was developed during our work package 2 activities. The questionnaire was addressed to the advisory board members, the Frontier Projects Cluster, and to consortium partners, focusing on 3 critical aspects: the multi-level governance of urban mobility, stakeholder roles and engagement, and also to policies related to urban mobility for passengers and freight. The aforementioned actions resulted in the consolidation of 21 recommendations that constitute the backbone of DELPHI novel integrated mobility governance framework, or in short, DENIM-GOV as we call it, that among others includes the following key areas: data interoperability, development of a shared vision and collaborative business models, harmonization of regulations across sectors and jurisdictions, and smart contracts and dynamic data sharing protocols. DENIM-GOV is to be validated through the DELPHI pilot implementations and constitutes the suggested framework for DELPHI Town. DELPHI Town is a concept of operation based on the assumption that all 4 DELPHI use cases take place in the same city. It explores interactions required between the various transport means to achieve seamless door-to-door mobility of passengers and freight transport. Anyone interested in further details regarding DENIM-GOV is welcome to reach out using the email address at the bottom of this page. And now regarding DELPHI's expected impact, it focuses on 6 main goals. In a glimpse, these are the improvement of multimodal transport network and traffic management, resilient network-wide data exchange and integration of data management systems that allow dynamic and responsive multimodal network and traffic management, the enhanced prediction and resolution of network with emphasis in safety, security, resilience, and overall performance, the development of innovative tools and services for optimizing mobility flows of passengers and freight, resulting to significant reduce of emissions, the introduction of new governance arrangements, and of course, the high market adoption and transferability of DELPHI solutions. That would be all from my side. Thank you very, very much for your attention. I believe the presentation will be shared with the audience for future reference, but for any additional information, you can contact us via email or visit DELPHI's official website. We also invite all of you to follow DELPHI's social media to receive the latest project updates. Once again, thank you for your attention.
Thanks a lot, Sophia. So thanks. That's the end of the presentation of the project. Thanks a lot to all presenters. Now we'll have a short Q&A session until 12:30. So as you've seen, why did we set up this webinar? It was to show the different synergies and common challenges that were between the different projects. It was also to raise attention about the pilot sites. So we have in the list of attendees a lot of people from different regions. So it maybe should ring a bell to some of what is happening in your region, what you are currently trying to develop. So the aim is really to put you in contact and to be sure that you can share your knowledge on the fields. And I would begin the Q&A session by first asking to all presenters about the replicability of the results, because we know that in research there is a lot that can be done, but what is actually going to be reused by the city is a crucial point. So maybe I just wanted to focus and conclude this webinar with this question: how do you think your results will be replicable in other cities than your pilot cities? Maybe we can begin if Evangelos, you're ready to answer this question for SYNCHROMODE, if you have some elements to share with us.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to mention that from the side of SYNCHROMODE, we are very much open to any interested city or related authority who might be present here today to test any of the use cases and any of the functionalities of the SYNCHROMODE toolbox that I presented before in their environment. This is also an indirect response to your questions, Bile. Replicability of the results of any of the developments is extremely important for us, and we tried to take this dimension into account, into consideration by design, let's say, in everything we do. One aspect, for example, is to the extent possible the use of standards, so that any tools or any technological progresses that we achieve can be quite easily plugged into third-party data sources or third-party systems. Another important aspect, again, from the side of SYNCHROMODE, is that we have within the consortium as core partners, especially for the development of the SYNCHROMODE toolbox, large commercial entities, the objective of which is to improve their existing offering to their clients for traffic management purposes, but also enhance the capabilities thereof through new developments like the ones that I also presented before. So yes, replicability, to sum up, replicability is extremely important. This is something that we took into consideration from day one. And our objective is not only to provide significant contributions to the methodological side, and by that I mean new methods, new algorithms, new concepts, but at the end to provide a fully functional toolbox that can be immediately and also within the duration of the project deployed elsewhere.
Thanks a lot. Does any of the other projects want to react on this or explain also how their results are going to be applicable for other cities? Okay, otherwise we can switch to another topic. So one other question I had in mind as well is so you see that here the aim is to use like really the newest technologies with AI, with digital twins, and this creates always a lot of debates. There are some issues with the public acceptance. So maybe just wanted to see a bit what's your point of view on this, and maybe I would invite Claudio. As especially the topic of AI is quite burning. So what are your current challenges of using AI? How far you think you can go? And what's a bit your limits as well?
Thank you very much for the question. That's definitely extremely interesting one, and the topic that but I think also the whole world is actually thinking about how we can wisely use AI. So for me, and I mean the challenges we are facing in ACUMEN are basically at two levels. First of all, in particular, this relate to making predictions, etc. is really about how do we wisely use data and how do we actually define what are the goals of the data. And I give an example that we are for example we have been discussing quite a lot recently is about we want to develop a tool that identifies unexpected events. Now already defining unexpected events, it's not an easy is not an easy task, but then training a machine to understand what is an unexpected event start getting even more complicated. So and why, you can easily think why this is the case, right? So if something starts happening once or twice, then is it still unexpected or not? And maybe data start seeing patterns. So what we are definitely thinking is that, at least for the beginning and for this kind of applications, we still need a strong, let's say, use of what we define as hybrid AI. So develop AI with many, let's say, feedback loops with humans involved in really understanding why certain decisions are made and helping and guiding AI towards proper solutions that actually make sense for the goals that we want to achieve. And that's why, for example, in ACUMEN, and that's a very big case we have in the Athens pilot, but also in the others, is really try to have these hybrid loop where AI is just not let there finding the best number, whatever it is, but actually having humans understanding what's behind those decisions. And I can talk more. I don't know if I still have more time, but
yeah, unfortunately, I see that we are nearly at the end of the webinar. Sorry, because I'm sure this topic could raise a lot of different reaction. But I will need to conclude. But what I really want to say to the audience is that this was a first webinar gathering all the projects, so definitely one where we needed to feature all of them and to present them. So you all have a bit in mind what's going on in the Euro project, where are the pilot sites, what are the challenges that are being tackled. And please, we'd like maybe to organize some more thematic webinar focused on one or the other challenges. So please contact us, Police Network, to see if there are some challenges that you want to tackle in more precise thematic webinar. And I will leave the final word to Thiago.
No, I think I just wanted to mention also, because there was a question in the Q&A about the collaboration between the 9 projects and how you make sure that this bridging basically the gaps, but also help the development of each project. And then I just wanted to on my side to commend the projects, because I think sometimes there's a lot of resistance to collaborate, because they are all very busy in developing their solutions. But what we have noticed from our side on how this collaboration was beneficial, on the one hand, it was about the state of the art. So here you can say each project looked at state of the art. We had these 4 projects that started, and they all looked at state of the art for the solutions. And then, of course, with the new projects coming into the play, bringing them together was really beneficial to make sure that there is a common understanding where the technologies and solutions are. Then on the other aspect, that of course there are common topics. If you look about data, I think that's a clear one. And looking into data standards, challenges, gaps. So this is something that I see a lot of collaboration, which I think is quite important. And last but not least, I think the pilots, there are common challenges related to the pilots, I think, in terms of understanding of the users. And we see that this is happening. So of course, we are kind of building the field, I think, and on this, I think everybody benefits. Then of course, at some point there will be different commercial solutions, which I think is a normal in the market. So, but we do see this collaboration being quite beneficial, and a good example of that is the multimodal traffic management roadmap. So I would really invite all of you to look at that. And we are always here to help, of course, in bridging, to connect to the projects as well. So do not hesitate to reach out as well. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for the final word. Thanks a lot for the more than 70 attendees that we had online. So it was really great to take the time. And please reach out for us to organize more webinars on this topic. Thanks a lot to all the panelists also. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.